back in the Bahamas for the Caribbean Poker Party. After the $10,000 high roller, it's time to make way for the main event. There are close to 1,000 players lined up at the starting line, and you'll probably see some familiar faces among them. Phil Ivey, Maria Ho, Eric Seidel, Stephen Chidwick, Elke, and of course the Winamax team, Mustafa Kanit, Pierre Calamusa, Joao Vieira, Davide Katai, Guillaume Diaz, and Roman Luis, who we'll be sticking to like a fly all day. At the time of his arrival in the Bahamas in November 2019, Gloma is living a magical year. We saw him take down a side event in the EPT Monte Carlo before placing highest out of all the French players in the Las Vegas main event, an impressive 60th place finish out of a field of 8,500 players. He also took down yet another side event in Barcelona, just after achieving the biggest score of his career to date, a podium finish in Rozvadov in the Czech edition of the Party Poker Millions. Basically, at just 24 years of age, our star Romain still hasn't shown us his full power, and amidst a year worth $800,000, he's ready to take on any of the big dogs in the Bahamas. Before his late registration, we met up for a little sports session in what can only be described as the ideal setting. Over to you, Romain.
Bahama Resort in the Bahamas. What an unbelievable place. Actually one of the only places where I'm really happy to do a bit of sport in the morning. I mean, how couldn't you be? Look at it out there. It's pretty hot out here. It's already something like 25, 30 degrees, and I'm not planning on doing more than 20 or 30 minutes of cycling to get in the rhythm for the day. All right, 2:46. Now the tournament's been going for a couple of hours. It's time to late reg. Had a little shower in the room, prepared nicely, and now it's time to take the long 10-15 minute walk through the resort all the way to the poker room. It's really a moment for me to put my objectives in my head, repeat what I want to do during the day, and I'm coming here with a real confidence. I had a tough start to the year, but a really good end of summer with a deep run in the biggest tournament of them all, the main event in Vegas, and third place in Party Poker's Millions in Rozvadov. So confidence is really high, and I'm really eager to get going. See my tables, see if I can recognize any players, and let's do this. One of my main objectives for the day is for the cameras not to affect too much in my thinking process, how I play. I don't want to be thinking of what others will think of my game. I really want to play for myself in the moment. And recently I've been testing a lot of min bets and small bets, and I really see some positives, and I see some really exciting issues in hand, and I don't want the cameras to make me go away from that direction, so I'm going to continue and see what it can bring.
With a 4,000 small blind, 8,000 big blind, 8,000 big blind empty, dealers in the main event. Begin to deal. Good luck, everybody.
I recognise a few players at the table. That's Anthony Zeno, a really good player. He's got more than $10 million in earnings. He's got a lot of experience, and I've played against him a few times, not too much. Julien Ferrouz, a good friend that he's French, based in Canada, and he's been more of a beast online than live, but I know what he's capable of, and it's one of the first times I'm playing live with him, so I'm pretty excited. Alright, cards are in the air. This is the third leg of the tournament. I've got a bit more than $1 million, so I'm playing 120 blinds here, and I think I've got two options. With the king-queen suited, I can call and I can re-raise. I prefer to call, see what happens after the table, play some small pots earlier on, and get a feel for the table. Alright, looks like we're playing heads up. It's good to be in position and you flat so early. Yeah, everyone's got about the same stack. Very deep poker earlier on. Ooh, nearly flopped the straight there. 9-10-4 rainbow. Not a bad flop for my hand. I could check back or I could bet. Two options. I think I'm going to bet right now to be able to fold out some ace-x or maybe some pocket pairs that have good equity against my hand. I can continue on quite a few cards, so I'm going to bet about half the pot. 40k, yeah, that'll do. He called really quickly. He seemed kind of confident, and it's not that I won't always be barreling this turn. I think I like barreling against a lot of players. Just here, he seemed pretty happy to call quickly, and this turn, as it doesn't change much. I prefer to play it slowly. I mean, I'm barreling often there, but I prefer to use my stack in a more low variance way, and I can't see myself bluffing this ace river. He has a few in his range, and I don't have too many when I bet the flops. I'm just gonna give up this first hand. Oh wow, pocket kings, so yeah. Two barrel would not have gone through, unfortunately. He called really quickly on the flop. He's not much check raising going on there. That's something I can note for later on. Pocket sixes on under the gun one. I'm always going to be opening 20. This hand with more than 20-25 blinds. So here we've got 100. So of course it's an open. Folds all the way to Vlad Darje, a very, very strong Romanian player in the big blind. He's been playing the circuit I've been on the same tournament as him for the last 3 or 4 years. We know each other quite well. He's a really nice guy, but very good at poker. So right now I've got to be at 100% concentration. 10-7-5 with a flush draw. I mean, it's not the best flop for my hand, but my range against his range does have an advantage, I'd say, on this board, and I want to use my pocket bet now, try and take down the pot, maybe value against a 5, and then try and show down. Oh, that's good. I'm happy if you fall straight away. It's a good result for me. Plus maintenant. You can see Vlad is interested in the button, as he's going to be with a majority of his hand when it's folded to him. I've got an easy defend here with the 10-9 offsuit. I've got a good price to see a flop and a hand that plays pretty well post flop, so I'm never going to be folding that one. Alright, opening the straight draw. That's pretty sexy. I'm going to see what he does. I can opt for a check raise from time to time if he bets. I would prefer to have a backdoor flush draw so deep to check raise, though. I don't like to play too big pots out of positions against strong players with not too many possibilities, especially on the backdoor. So I think I'm going to use this 10-9 offsuit as a check call and probably do a check raise the ones with backdoor flush draw. Even if it's probably fine just check raising straight away, but I want to play a little low variance. Turn is a 6, it's an interesting card. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be leading this sort of turn too often because I don't have a million hands that make better hands, and he should be two barreling from time to time, even quite often I think, and then I have a decision. Do I want to check raise or do I want to check call? I think I might go for the check raise here. It's really not that bad. I have a lot of 2 pairs and not many draws as there's no flush draw. So actually on a board without a flush draw, I'd like to check raise my open-ender here. Let's check back, okay. River's a 9, okay, I pair my 9 and I think I have the best hand pretty often here. I can see him 2-barreling with a lot of jacks. On that turn, maybe he has a hand like pocket 10s, then I block. I think I'm going to go for a thin value bet here. It seems like the best option. I don't have many perceived bluffs, so I really can't go big. Yeah. Fourth, maybe a third. Snap fold from blood. Alright, GG son. Mr. Darje raises again from the hijack this time. 18,000. But alright, calls pretty quickly, and here I have a hand that I'll usually fold 9-6 suited. However, recently I've been getting in position in 4 or 5 ways on the button. I've been using the min bet as a way to clear a lot of equity, and the results have been kind of exciting. So I'm gonna call here just to see a flop and maybe use this new sort of weapon I think I might have found. Ace 10-3, not the most unbelievable board in the world with 4 ways. And gonna see what Vlad does here. It's checked pretty quickly to me, and this is one of the examples of a spot where I think betting 8 into 85 is not bad at all. I can multi-barrel on a few cards, not too many, but especially if the players don't raise me on the flop. This board's a bit different, but still they never have a better hand than, let's say, Ace-Jack. So I can use that information for later on in the hand. But that seems reluctant to pay, but he does pay in the end, and I usually get a lot of live tails also out of this small bet, and it looks like my two opponents aren't very strong right now, but I'm not the David Kitai of tails yet, so I won't know. The ace on the turn isn't the most unbelievable card for me. I would have preferred to see a 7 and 8, maybe a spade that I could have bet big. This one's really tough one to bluff for me. I have absolutely no equity, so I think I'm going to check for now and see what happens on the river. River's the 5 that completes the backdoor flush, and I'm not representing much. I'm probably going to give up if it checks to me. Vlad, it looks like he's wondering if he's going to bluff or not. Oh wow, okay. Okay, I was going to give up, but now it seems like Vlad was giving up a bluff, and that snap check by the player just to my right doesn't look like he has an ace. I'm going to try and steal this pot 14 to 150. Oh, snap call, wow. Oh, he had the ace, okay. I didn't think he'd play like that, but alright, yeah, the snap call, of course, with an ace. Would have been more interesting to see what he did, maybe with pocket 8s or pocket 7s, maybe a 10, but no, he played well, and he had a few counter tails on me that worked pretty well there, so bravo, monsieur. Still got a decent stack here, playing deep stack, and now the table knows that I can flat a bit wider, and I can use this one blind, so that's to take into account for sure. Pocket 5s here in the cutoff, standard open, playing more than 100 blinds still, so I'm very comfortable. This player hasn't played too many hands yet, and he's 3-bet me to 66,000 on the button. We're playing so deep that it's an easy call here with my pocket fives. Of course, I can hit a magic 5 on the flop, which would make my hand a very, very strong hand. And also I can play pocket fives post flop. I mean, against a 3-betting range on the button, it's a playable situation. Let's see a flop, sir. Did a little 5 out there. Oh, so close. Not actually a bad flop, 7-6-4. I've got an open-ended now with my pocket 5, so it's going to be easy for me to see a turn. Now I prefer him to check back. Alright, he's gone for the c-bet, which is going to happen more often than not on this board. And now I have a decision between raise and call here, but I don't have any information on the player to my left, and I'm already beating hands like ace-queen and ace-king, so I don't think I can benefit too much out of raising here. I'm just going to call, see a turn, and maybe lead a few turns that are good for my range. Turns the 10 of diamonds, and that's a really interesting card. I have hands like 8-9 suited now who made a straight on the turn. I have 7 6s and 4s, which I might want to lead as well on this turn. So I'm going to use 5s as a sort of semi-bluff, protect sort of bet. I don't think I'm going to get raised on very often here in the turn. I have too many strong hands and we're playing so deep that I think I'm always going to see the river. And maybe I can get him off a hand like ace-queen or ace-king right now, so that would be a good result. I'm going to bet just under 40% here. Okay, looks interested. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere so far. Maybe I can bluff a few rivers, especially a 9. Oh no, he's just shoved me on the turn. That's really bad news. I can't do anything. Oh well. I was not expecting that. Okay, not the most unbelievable start to the day, but hey, as frustrating as poker can be, if I'm okay with my line, I continue. I fight. Fold, 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 fold. We absolutely love it when we fold live, don't we? Spend hours waiting for cards. Sometimes they come, and sometimes they don't. Poker. Bladari opens again. Here under the gun 1, and I've got pocket 7s in the hijack. Playing a really comfortable stack still, no point 3-betting this hand. I'll call in position and see what happens. Alright. Good result here to be in position, just heads up. It's a good flop for my hand, 5-4-4. I've got the overpair, which is pretty rare with pocket 7s. If he checks, I've got 2 options, but I'll probably check back. If he bets, well, I'm of course not going anywhere. Going for the bet. It's like 22,000. Easy decision for me here.
The button is in seat number 1. Our first blind level today, satellite, is going to be small blind 500, big blind ante 1,000. Every entry has 1 optional reload. We'd like to wish all players the very best of success. Dealers, if you got 3 or more players,
turns the deuce of diamonds. That's an interesting card. I've got a lot of suited combinations that I'm going to flat here in the hijack, and some of them made a flush here. I think he's going to check a large majority of his range on this turn because he can't continue with overpairs And now my decision is between betting and checking. I think I'm going to bet this one just because I don't want to cap my range, and I'm really happy about taking the pot down right now. My hand needs protection, and although it seems reasonable to go and see a showdown, I want to protect my equity right now. I'm gonna bet a third pot. Looking a little bit interested here, but doesn't look like it's an easy one to let go, but he's done that, and that's a good result for me. Even small pots are really nice pots to win when it's not going too well on the day one. We'll take them all. Raise from Mr. Zeno over here in the cutoff. 18,000. And I look down at King Queen. Offsuit in the small blind. I could 3-bet from time to time, but calling is fine, of course. Alright, and we're going 3-way to see a flop. I dominate both ranges a little bit, so I'm happy to have this hand. I know also it can be interesting to min bet a few flops from the small blind. Let's see what comes out. Ace, Jack, 8. All of clubs. So this is a board that before, of course, I would have just given up on. We have no clear equity, but I think this is where a min bet can be very strong. We're clearing equity straight away in the big blind. He can even fold hands like 6-5 of a club or a 4 of clubs or something. Maybe even an 8 without a club isn't the easiest call, but I think I can benefit a lot from betting here. It's a really good result, the big blind folding. And yeah, okay. Just calling the one blind here. Not repping a lot of strength, Anthony, and see what comes in turn. This is one of the situations where I like to go for it small again on the turn. So many hands that have a lot of equity against my hand seem dead. I mean, if they don't have a club and they're facing even a small bet on the turn, it's very tough to acknowledge that you can have equity against various hands in my range. It's much easier to put myself in a flush and therefore think that you have zero equity, so whatever bet you pay could be bad. So I think a very small 1.5 blind bet is good here. Well, snap fold from Anthony. It's one of the new sort of lines I'm getting interested in, and this one went well. Maybe not like the 9-6, so you can't win them all, but no, this is why poker's interesting me a lot at the moment. I'm getting to see stuff that I never did before.
Alright, you guys are players in the main event. Finish showing your own and raise the blinds. Blinds now 5,000, 10,000, 10,000, big blind ante. Blinds up in the main event. Just to remind you, as we announced before, today we're going to play a total of 8 levels. Every 2 levels we have a 15 minutes break. Our main event will be over approximately at 8:45, so no dinner break in the main event. And for your information, the late registration will expire tomorrow after the second level, which will be level 10. Once again,
I really like the structure here, how they do it at Party Poker with no dinner breaks and an early finish to the day. It's much more enjoyable, I think, live poker that way than having to play 2 or 3 hours after dinner with the digestion period and everything. It's tough. Alright, it's a bit more than 2.5 blinds to go on the button. I've got Jack 10 suited here in the small blind. I think the two options are fine between the 3-bet and the call. I prefer to play 3-way with this type of hand. I think it benefits quite a lot from its playability, of course, and well, that's a very interesting flop for me. Ace King Deuce with my flush draw. I've got a gut shot and a third nut flush draw. Let's see what happens. Could sometimes lead out one blind here to sort of mix it in with some sexy hands like Jack 10 suited, but at the same time on Ace King Deuce it doesn't feel logical to do that. Here I have two options. I can bet out big or I can check raise, and I think I'm going to opt for the check raise because it gives me much more clarity on the strengths of my opponent's hand, the way they bet, how much they bet. And here it's a small bet from the big blind, 25,000, and it's a bit less than third pot. Reluctantly called him the button, and this was the sort of spot I was waiting for. I think both players are not showing much strength, and when I come in with a check raise into two players here, I think I'm representing pretty big. I can barrel on a lot of rivers, and I get there on a little rivers too, so the question is, what is my sizing here on the turn? I think I'm going to go quite big. 150 maybe? Okay, let's put it up to 175.
170.
Snapfall from the big blind, which is good news. Just give it up now, that'd be nice. Yes. Alright. Got a little pot through there. Not sure what I was going to do if he blanked it out there, especially with my image. The guy had checked really quickly in ace when I bluffed my 9-6 of spades there. I mean, he believes that I'm a bluffer, and that's what he has in his head to play against me, so I've got to take that into considerations before playing big pots with Jack high against him. And this time I got my first premium of the day, Ace King suited. What a lovely hand. There's two ways to play this one. The standard way would be to 3-bet for value, but Vlad's a really good player and I like to mix in a bit with calls here. I want to see how the table reacts. I mean, I'm very happy to play a multi-way with this kind of hand. I want players to come with dominated flush draws, dominated aces, dominated kings, and I don't think Vlad's going to be the player who's going to be making the most amount of mistakes on a 3-bet pot. So I'm happy to mix it from time to time. Alright, full way to a flop. It's a really interesting flop. I flopped the nut flush draw. But I'm also blocking some other draws. There's very often top pair in one of the hands, and Vlad here is deciding whether or not he wants to continuation bet. If he checks, I of course will bet probably around 30% of the pot. Okay, he's gone for himself a 35k, which is around 30% of the pot. I don't have many options here. I want to only call here. Not much sense in raising. I don't think so anyway. Julien in the small blind. I haven't played against him yet today, and he seems interested in this one. Sticks along as well. We know what we want, dealer. We know what we want. We want a heart. Give it to me. Okay, the 5 of spades isn't bad. Not the greatest card, of course, but I don't think they have it in their ranges. What's Vlad going to do here? It's very interesting. If he checks, I think I'm just going to check it back and realise my equity for free. I don't think I have I have so many perceived bluffs as well that I just want to keep the hands that I dominate, the flush draws underneath, and maybe I can get that heart I want on the river and set up one of the two players. 10 of spades is not what I was looking for exactly. It's going to be hard for me to represent much in this hand. I think I'm just going to give up if it goes check check. I've already got a bad image and wasted a few chips on bluffing already, so I'm not sure this one is for me. I'm going for the bet here. It's an interesting bet. Didn't check raise the flop, so he never really has folds or eights. It's kind of repping maybe 8-9, 8-7 of spades, queen 10 maybe. There's nothing I can do anyway in this hand, I'm just spectating here. Could be an interesting spot for Vlad.
All players are sophisticated, they reach for taking the seats. The opponent is blowing your introvert, just over 3 minutes.
He seems very interested here. Looks like he's got that face where he's going in for the raise. That's digging in the blue chips. Wow. Still cool. Not for me, lads. Not for me. Playing 70 blinds here, so still very playable stack. I'm waiting for a real impact on one of the boards. Julien.
Good luck. Yeah.
Cheerio, Julien. Good luck for the rest of the tournament. I'll be seeing you at the beach anytime soon, I'm pretty sure, for a morning routine. Routine at Bahamas is just basically laying on the sand for 15 minutes and deciding to walk back to the resort to play some poker. Nothing unbelievable there. Ace-5 suited for me in the cutoff after a raise. Under the gun 1, I've got 2 options. I think I can call or I can raise. If you're not feeling it, I can fold from time to time, of course. It's never bad to fold. But I think I'm happy to see a flop here. I've already played against this player in the big blind before, but I can't remember his name or where we played, but I'm sure we already played quite a lot of poker together. I don't have much information on him whatsoever. Alright, Jack 8, that's not my board. Nothing much I can do here, apart from maybe actually, if it checks to me, can't. This could be one of the situations where the min bet could be nice. I like these sort of boards to min bet because so deep, they don't really think I have many hands in my range which will min bet fold, so it could be interesting if it checks to me, but it has. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I like it here. I mean, they're going to check raise 100% of their jacks against a min bet, so especially on Jack 8 with a flush draw, so if they don't check raise, I can really use that later on in the hand. And if I'm only against a call here on the flop, I can win with my ace high first of all, and then maybe I can turn into a bluff. I mean, I keep the options open, and if I get check raised, I lose a blind out of 70. It's not the end of the world. It looks like he's coming for the check raise. Well, next hand. outside, take a breath of fresh air and concentrate for the second part of the day. It wasn't an easy first half of the day and the spots are complicated in the end.
Allez, hein.
Tranquille, tranquille. Pas trop jouer un coup de pied au moment.
Ouais, ça descend un peu, c'est cartel.
Putain, je m'attendais pas à me faire shove sur le lead turn là. Sur le pot 3 bas, t'as abusé.
C'est pas mal ce que t'as fait.
J'ai 2-5
T'as
quoi.
montré les petits min-bets, j'ai bien aimé. Ah, t'as 2-5
Ouais. Oh, tu vois le min-bet sur les 3 trèfles, le 4ème trèfle,
Ouais, tu
roi dame rouge.
croyais que tu voulais le montrer pour la tête dame.
Ouais, mais en fait non.
Il est énorme. Ah,
Ouais,
tu
mais
peux
dans la
le
tête
montrer
dame pro, je garde roi dame rouge, tu vois, je l'écris. On met un roi dame rouge. J'avais pas envie de lui montrer parce que j'ai envie de m'en servir quand même pas mal.
Surtout continue.
Ça doit passer tellement rarement. Ouais. Ah, 12 000 fold, oui. On aime bien celle-là.
Petit sourire les 2 fois où tu l'as fait, j'étais... Ouais, tu m'avais dit ça.
Cool ou quoi?
Cool ou quoi?
Alors
700.
700?
Pas
C'est pas
incroyable.
mal ça.
Pas incroyable, c'est mieux,
Ah,
mieux que
top.
600 quoi.
T'es toujours là, ouais.
Ah ouais, c'est pas mal quoi. Et tout?
T'as tenu la moitié de la journée. Moi j'ai 1 million, je baille maintenant.
Bravo. T'as aussi tenu la moitié de la journée. Ça fait plaisir.
T'étais là au premier niveau?
Non. Je suis arrivé sur 4-8. Muni de 120 blindes, tranquille quoi. Ou 110 blindes, 112 blindes.
200, baby.
200. I can, so man, it's better than 100. It's better than 80k. It's 3 times better than 70k nearly.
Not far from Big Moosty.
Oh yeah.
Army! We had a great time. I got to know him in January last year for the Aussie Millions. We stayed in a very nice place on the docks in Melbourne for 10-15 days with the great Mustafa and the amazing Shiri. We made a great team and yeah, I can't wait to go back there. But that was the past and this is the present. I need to get back in the game. It's 6-12 and I got 700k. And we're playing for more than $1 million. So I've got to leave the past in the past and get straight back into the action. Alright, so big blind's not here in this hand, so I'm scored with a small blind, big blind. And I got the Jack deuce suited, which I'm never going to be folding in the big blind, not with this price. So even if I have to pay a little more from the small blind, I will, because I'm the last one to act. 8-4 deuce. I think I'm going to go with that min bet as well. It's a board where I think I'd be getting raised a lot, but in reality, it seems that people are not raising that much, which is kind of interesting. So I'll call a raise, of course, depending on the size. But I want to take information here, see what he does. He calls quick, and that's really good news. So very often my deuce is ahead, I think, and I'm only really losing to 5s, 6s, and pocket 3s. 7 on the turn's really interesting. Now I've got a lot of combinations of hands that make 2 pairs that he doesn't. I've got straights that he doesn't. I'm going to continue to bet my 2 in order to be able to win the hand right now from time to time, and sometimes turn it onto a bluff depending on the river. I think I can get just random queen jack and queens to fold here, and that'd be a good result in my hand. And now he's called. I can still be ahead against hand like ace 5, ace 3, maybe ace 6. 6 on the river. Okay. Now I just have a lot of straights in my range, and I think I'm going to bluff it. I mean, he could have 9-10 even. He could have 9-10, he could have a 5, but I have so many in my range that I think I can just bet anywhere from a third pot to pot here and aim to make everything fold apart from a straight. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on the bigger side. I'm not sure about his bet size, but I'm sure he won't call if he doesn't have a straight here. It's a really important pot for me. My heart's racing. I hope he doesn't see it. I'm not sure about this play. I feel kind of awkward. I don't like to put myself in situations where I'm not often in big live tournaments, and this is one of them. I'll just give you no. What's he doing? Oh, I know I'm just going to fold my hand, but I'm devastated of the action. I think the hand defends itself in a sort of way, but he must have just got there and with 9-10 in the end, isn't it? Of course, nothing I can do. I've got the option to shove for an extra 150, but that would be suicidal. And I don't want to commit suicide on camera. Ah, man, I'm devastated. All right, most important for me now is to get straight back into my tournament, straight back into the situation. I've still got 30, 35 blinds, and man, 35 blinds on a tournament like this, a lot of people would dream of it. So I've got to be there. I've got to be in the moment. I've got to take every opportunity as it presents itself to me. I have my time. Patience is a virtue in live poker. Definitely tests your patience. I learned a lot of myself over the past few years with what live poker can bring to our emotions, to our inner self. Jack 10 suited here. I'm playing 35 blinds. I think I can call. I mean, I can fold this hand as well. I can play tighter, but at the same sense, I've got a few tails on the player that just opened, I think. He plays pretty quickly, and I've got a good idea of his strengths and weaknesses. Or at least the way he likes to play hands, which is very cautiously so far. Okay, we're 5 away to a flop here. There's a huge amount in the middle. There's actually more than half my stack in the middle, so let's hope I can flop something here. 7-4-3 rainbow. It's not the greatest flop for me. I do have backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, 2 over cards. And the pot is very important for my stack, so I feel that I could set off a bet here to maybe multi-barrel certain turns. I don't think I'm going to get check raised much on this board by anyone. I think I'm representing quite strong when I bet into 4 players.
40.
I'm going to go for it here for a little less than third pot. Maybe a little bit optimistic, but there are some cards on the turn that can really add to the playability of my hand, and I'm betting into 4 players, so I could have a little credit. Alright, that's not good news. Played directly to my left calls. Actually representing a lot of strength there. Alright. Wonderful. Alright, that did not go to plan. I've got, I think, more than my stack in there right now. My stack, and I'll have to shove a couple turns, but can't shove too many. And the 8 of clubs is an interesting one. I do pick up a gut shot, a bit of extra equity, but 3 callers on the flop just seems way too dangerous for me to do anything. I'm going to have to give it up here. Leaning chips in the last hour, but yeah, it looked like he had a hand. 185. He's flopped a set or something. Yeah, I was maybe a bit too optimistic. My bet 4 players with my stack. Next hand, next hand, next hand. What do they have? Oh, yeah, that did look like a strong hand from my neighbours. Had a good day so far. Having fun. It's always good to see your neighbours have fun. Alright, this is my time now. Maybe the clocks have turned and this is my time to shine. I'm in the big blind here, 20-25 blinds. Bring it on. Nine, 7 suited, good enough for me to see a flop here. King 8-4 with my flush draw. I got a bit less than 20 blinds, I think. There's two options, call or raise. Raise, get it in. I think here I'm just going to opt for the jam. I've got 25% of the starting stack. Be happy to take the pot as it is. Not much else I think I can do. All you can eat. Yeah, okay, take it down. We win a pot. I'm happy. I'll take it. Need a few more like that to get anywhere close to the starting stack, but a poker tournament is a poker tournament. We know how long it is. Alright, Queen Jack suited here is interesting. I've got two options. I think I can go for the 25 big blind jam from time to time. I also can just see a flop. That's fine for me. It's a bit more low variance and a situation where I can benefit from both plays, so that's fine. Quite tempting to go back out with the one blind like earlier, but it hasn't worked to perfection. I'm not in the moment where I'm the most confident, so I'm just going to give this one up. Okay, a queen on the turn is interesting. It's really good for my hand. I can have green for many better turns, especially if he didn't bet the flop. I'm just going to go for very, very small here. If he raises, I got an easy fold, but he doesn't look like he's the guy that raises the most amount of hands. The way he put that chip in, he doesn't look so excited, but at the same time, when he had those chip aces, it didn't seem excited at all, so I'm not sure if I have the best hand or not. Alright, 3 of diamonds. He looks a little bit lost in his hand. I think he could maybe call me off if I go very small. I don't think he'll bluff ever. I think I could just benefit from a very small value bet from time to time. I think he would have bet a lot of aces on the flop, so I'm going to go small here. Try and get some value. It's very important for my stack, these little bets, if I can get them through. Yeah, that'll do. A value bet, sir. A value bet, not a bluff. Happens from time to time. Hasn't been happening much today, to be honest, and here's a small bet, so I'm going to need some bigger pots to get a bit more excited in this poker tournament. Still got my time bank cards, though. That's pretty good. That's my... my positive point so far. I'm just feeling okay. King Queen suited here. on the up from the 200k to about 400k stack now. Beautiful hand. Alright, get 3-bet here. By the button. Yeah, I'm just calling to see a flop very often. Sometimes I can jam this to... If I don't believe the guy, but this guy hasn't been 3-betting me too much. He hasn't been very active, so I'm happy to see a flop and decide from then. Jack 3 deuce without my backdoor flush draw. That looks like a flop I'm gonna have to give up on. Up again, and well, just being carded costs a little bit more, but that's it. What it's like when it's tournament life. We know it. We have to eliminate players. The blinds have to go up, and I'm in a danger zone here, but I have confidence it can go up pretty quickly. King Queen again here. Like the hand I've had all day. Just under 20 blinds from the cutoff.
32.
Get him in, raise it. That's an interesting flop, Jack 8-10. I'm playing such a short stack. I don't really want to bet and see myself have to call an all in with the equity I have. I prefer to check it back. And to see a turn, I think I can protect my range in doing so. I'm calling a lot of turns. I'm setting up some hands when I get straight over straight, so I prefer to check back here. On the 8 I will bet. I could have checked back some 8s on the flop, and I don't want him to get free equity or free bluff on the river and gets through. We're on the up. We're on the up. Folded to me here on the button. I look down at Jack 10 offsuit. I got a few options here. I can limp, I can raise. I haven't limped too much. I'm happy to use this hand in this position as candidate to limp in, play post flop. Possibly in a 3-way with hands from the small blind that I can dominate. Always come in for the big raise. I haven't seen him. I mean, he's been pretty active today, but he's shown cards every time. I've got a hand that can definitely call and just go with the equity as soon as I see a flop that I'm happy with, but that would be against a player who's shown a lot of bluffs and he hasn't, so I'm just going to respect his raise here. Alright, some blind on blind action here. Looks like my friend wants to see a flop Three, I got 7-6 suited here. Could play well in a limped and check pot, but once again, he doesn't seem so interested. He limped pretty quickly there. I mean, he could be reverse telling, but I don't believe it this time. I'm just gonna put my 15, 16 blinds in there and hope for a fold. Okay, that gets through. I'm not jamming 100% of the time that hand, but pretty often if I see any sort of weakness, I'm gonna try and take the pot before the flop. It's too important for my stack. I got 5-4 off here. I'm playing 20 blinds. I think I can limp in. I mean, even if he's been raising me quite a lot to my left, it does seem that he's been doing it with hands every time. I don't feel that I'm getting bluffed too much, so I can realize equity for, on average, a cheaper price than a very aggressive player, I'd say. Ace Queen far at 3. Interesting board. I mean, I'm going to continue the aggression here because I could have limp shoved a lot of aces. I can still have quite a few in my range. He's got quite a lot of snap folds, I think, so I'm going to continue for a blind. And okay, he does raise me straight around the flop. I've got equity here. He's giving me a really good price. And bizarrely enough, I don't know, he didn't raise me pre-flop. Now he's raising me an ace queen 3. It just looks more like a question than anything else. I mean, I'm gonna stick around. I think I represent many more good hands than he does, even if he hasn't been bluffing me too much. I mean, there's got to be one moment that he starts bluffing me, right? I just hope it goes check check and I can get a small bet through on the river. This raise didn't make much sense for me on the flop. Don't really want to be doing that with hands like Queen 3 or Ace 3, and it's probably the only value hands he has, and he's just going to jam on the turn. Just has it every time against me, doesn't it? Oh well, some days like this, have to accept. Not feeling unbelievable right now, but yeah, it looks like he has it every time. That it happens, got to accept it, move on. Min raise to my right, and I've just looked down at King Jack off, and I think he can raise fold against 10 blinds quite often. I mean, he doesn't look like the gambler, and if I can get him to fold, I'm already winning 50% of my stack. Really happy against it. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, it's a bit of a gamble shoving 10 blinds here with King Jack off if you think that your opponent is never folding against a 10 big blind rejam, but if you think they are folding from time to time, it's so profitable when they do that it becomes a nice shove. It's not because I got that shove through that I'm favourite to win this tournament. Still 3, 4, 5 maybe days of grinding to go, and a long way. But here I'm in the big blind, and hopefully can get some luck. Come back into this competition for the last few hours. I have been rather suffering. What are you up to, Vlad? You got something there on the button? Yeah. Alright. Raise from a Romanian friend, and I look down at 5-4 suited. Playing 20 blinds. Definitely see a flop with this hand. It's going to be a dangerous situation because there's going to be quite a few flops that I'm going to have to check jam. But at the same time, I'm getting offered a price, I accept it. 8-8-4, now that's a good flop for me. I mean, of course I'm beaten by a lot of hands, but I've realised the equity I wanted to realise in the first place. I paid the price to realise. If he bets here, I think I have to protect my hand. I mean, there's no turn that's going to be really good for me.
That's 23.
And I think I have to risk my tournament here. I mean, I'm playing 15, 16 blinds behind. And just getting the pot, winning the pot right now is going to be a huge bonus for my stack. So hopefully he's just c-bet the pot of his range where he's not happy and, oh no, he's jam straight. Well, that's not good news. That's not good news. I'm probably going to have to get a lucky hint. Wow, he has an 8. Well, I'm literally drawing dead. All right. Well, I just need runner 4s, which happens once in a lifetime probably. Not much more. No, not this time. All right, that was a tournament poker day as we know them. Unfortunately, nothing to smile at for me there. But I mean, I'll be back this week. There's so many nice tournaments, and I don't regret too many spots I played. There was some situations where I was testing new things and it didn't go well. And of course, on big tournaments where I do some new stuff and it doesn't go well, it sort of gets to my head. But at the same time, that's why I love the game. I love thinking outside the box, and I love trying to do things that I don't see too frequently. But it doesn't always go for the best, and I got to relax tonight, have a good night's sleep, and I'll be back at it tomorrow.
Today won't be the day you add a trophy to your collection, Romain, but that doesn't mean that the day was a waste. You tried out some new strategies and experimented different ways of playing, which does not make this tournament a failure, but a simple stepping stone before your next success. In the meantime, before we get to watch you lift your next trophy, we'll be turning back to Adrian Mateos. Our Spaniard is on top form after finding his way back to success by taking down the super high roller the day before and doubling his stack in the main event. You'll be able to check that out very soon in the next episode of Inside the Mind of a Pro.